Hello, everybody. We're going to talk sports and superstition today. Now, I know not all of you like sports, but sports are a big part of our life. And so we need to deal with it, even if we don't personally participate. So let's get right to it. I'm going to share my screen and we're going to talk sports for just a little bit. All right, sporting superstitions. That's going to be sort of the focus of this topic. And I'll discuss a superstition is something you sort of, if you're superstitious, you take meaning and importance from things other people find trivial or unimportant. So sometimes you walk a certain way to your exam because it brings you luck. You're superstitious. You only walk this way, or you only wear this sweater when you take an English exam. So this is superstition, and we're going to talk about that. Now, we're going to do it in sports because sports often have these superstitions by the players, participants, because it's competitive. Someone wins, someone loses, and everyone wants luck or God or someone on your side. And so one way people think they can sort of bring more luck is to have, some sort of lucky charm, or if they're a little bit superstitious. So let's talk about these. Now, in a very interesting sports quiz to start with, which of these sports, I identify the sport in question here, and then you're going to listen to 5.1 and they're going to give you the answer. But I want to look at a few of these words because we can use these in extended senses. So if I have a butterfly is that little moth that becomes a butterfly, and it flies beautiful colors, often yellow and black. But we can have butterfly. Well, one sport, there's called the butterfly stroke, but you can guess what that is. But there's another very common phrase that I want to make you aware of, and that is before competitions, a lot of people have butterflies in their stomach, this feeling of being very nervous. If you're anxious or nervous, you've got butterflies. That means you're not so calm. It's right before competition. A lot of people are watching, or you feel a lot of pressure to win. You might have butterflies. And they're always in the stomach. Next, we have a slam dunk. Now, some of you might not know what a slam dunk is. I'm going to show you because there's an extra sense to this, a metaphor that I think is very interesting. And so I will share it with you now. Here. This is a slam dunk. That's a slam dunk. So obviously you now know that the answer is basketball. But we use slam dunk in another sense as well. So if something's a slam dunk, it's easy. So how did you do on the test? Oh, it was a slam dunk. So you use that phrase to talk about anything that might be easy for you. Now, I've mentioned this word here, this city, because it might be difficult to pronounce. Melbourne. And in Australia, where the city lies, they say it differently than I do. But we say Melbourne, and in Britain they say Melbourne a little bit longer. So in the US, it's a sharper, quicker, stronger vowel. In the Britain, it's softer, and then in Australia, it's even different. I'm not great with all of the different pronunciations. I say Melbourne. And that's somewhere in the middle between the US and the British. All right, what sports did I play? Now, this is something you can ask your speaking partners, and I think it's going to be really interesting. If you didn't play sports, you can talk about the hobbies that you had when you were younger. So when I was growing up, I had two sports, and I know one of them you'll never guess. The one that you would guess is baseball. Baseball is America's pastime. I'm going to write that word down if I can get my pen out here. It's America's pastime. Pastime means it's the thing people do when they're free. This is like America's sport. So what's your pastime? Meaning what's your hobby? It's a very nice old word for hobby. So it's America. Baseball is America's pastime. And I played baseball growing up through high school, thought about college, university. By the way, if I say college and you're in the US, it's the same as university. They mean the same in the US. But if you're in the UK, they don't mean the same. So you have to say university because college is different. It's lower. But in the US, college and university are synonyms. And you know what's even funnier in the US? We can also say school, which in Britain is only refers to, high school or, grammar school, secondary school, actually. But in the US, I'm in school. That could mean I'm in university. So the US have three words for university. And the Brits have two, university or uni. They say uni a lot. In the US, you don't say that very much. We would understand it, but we never say it. But in Britain, it's very common to say, I'm at uni. All right. So I played baseball. And the other thing I did, I'll write it down, is wrestling. I wrestled for 7 or 8 years. Wrestling is this form of, I guess, martial arts, but it's an Olympic sport. And it was I think, very helpful for my development. It gave me a bit of confidence, but I couldn't overcome the butterflies. I was nervous before every match, but I had a lot of fun in the end. And I kept in shape, I suppose. What about you? What are your pastimes? What are your hobbies? All right, now we're going to move down. So you're going to do that exercise, and we're going to move to the vocabulary bank, where, once again, the audio files are going to help you. So you have here number 1 all the way down, and then you have audio files for each of these. So I don't need to repeat what the audio file is doing. I'm only going to point out a few words that I think are quite interesting for you to know in an extended or expanded sense or meaning. So fans, I'm a fan of means I like very much. So I'm a fan of football. I'm a fan of reading. I'm a fan of walking in the park. So you can be a fan of anything that you like a lot. So we can use that. And then I want to talk just briefly about win and beat, because these can sometimes be confusing for students learning English. So you win, we won. You don't win somebody, you won, stop. You beat somebody. So we can say we won or we beat this team. So beat requires an object, win doesn't. You can, we won against someone, but I don't really like that style. And I'm not even sure it's standard English. Let's see. Here we have a few others. A striker, you might not know what a striker is. A striker is someone in football. Now, Americans say football, the Brits say soccer. Everyone else says soccer. So a striker is on the offense in soccer. It's the closest to the other team's goal. We call that a goal. All right. And so then 2 other words just for pronunciation in 7. We have yoga, not joga, yoga, and tai chi. Tai chi. Do you practice either of those? I've tried both. I should do more of them, I think. But I did study tai chi for about a year. All right, we're going to go back. That's going to be a very interesting lesson that you want to take seriously, and don't go too quickly. Now, we're going to move then to pronunciation. Pronunciation is number 2. And you've got here, again, audio files are going to help you. Take the pronunciation seriously, especially with words and sounds you have difficulty with. So what would I recommend? What would I do if I were in your shoes, in your place? If I were a student of this class, I would identify the sounds that I'm weakest in, that I sound most unnatural. And you know what I would do? I would record my voice, listen, and compare it with the recording. Now, guess what? This isn't a pleasant experience. It's painful sometimes because you think, oh my gosh, I sound so bad. I also don't like the sound of my voice. So everyone has this feeling, but you improve the fastest if you do it. If you want to improve aspects of your pronunciation, and I know that some of you do. Now, we're not doing the reading. Reading is always optional in this course, but I have highlighted 4 phrases that we use a lot, or expressions that you need to know about. So crossing your fingers means good luck. So you tell your friend, or you tell me, I have an exam tomorrow, I will say good luck. Now, what's interesting, in Poland, they hide their thumb. They do this for good luck. And they don't say thank you. So if you say good luck tomorrow, they will say no thank you. Because if they say thank you, it's seen as a curse that you will do poorly. The Poles are superstitious. This is what we mean by superstitious. There's no rationale or logic to it, but they believe if you say thank you, you will do bad on your exam, poorly. All right, so cross your fingers. What about in your country? Do you have a sign for good luck? Now, let me know, or we can talk about it during the live. Touch wood. Or you can talk about it during speaking club. Touch wood is what the Brits say. Do you see how they're touching wood? In America, we say knock on wood. It means the same. So you don't want to jinx yourself. I will write this down. Jinx. You'll also have it in the subtitles. But to jinx yourself is to produce bad luck. So if you say something like, I've always scored well on these tests and I have another one tomorrow, I think I'll do pretty well. You might say touch wood or knock on wood, because when you're so confident, these are often the times when you can have problems. Now, what other people do you see? Wearing lucky clothes. Do any of you do such things before exams or important moments in your life? I know that a lot of sports people do. They wear the same socks during the playoffs, or they have the same routine. They wear the same wristband or the same chain. A lot of people wear chains or necklaces that, or a ring that is sort of good luck on special occasions. And some people even carry a lucky charm, something small like a key ring, or I don't know, any small object that you hold near and dear to your heart. That you hold near and dear to your heart means that you value it, that you value it. So anything like that. So do you have any such habits, or do you do any of these things? I'll be very curious to see if this is part of your culture. I know in Latin cultures, this is very common to have these sorts of things. Baseball players in Latin America will do these sort of hand signs before they go bat. It's just something they do as, I guess, for good luck. All right, you can read that if you have time. We're going to move down to the listening, where you're going to do some more listening and answer questions. Now, take the listening very seriously. I have intentionally, on purpose, cut down the homework to a manageable size so that you can focus on the most important skills for communication. Speaking in the speaking clubs and lives, listening as homework, pronunciation as homework, and of course, grammar, which underpins or is the base for all of this. So take the listening seriously. It will help you gain confidence when you speak. Because footballers are better at cheating. Now, I want to practice these two words for pronunciation. If you cheat, you play unfairly. You try to circumvent or go around the rules. But I want to practice the pronunciation because for Latin speakers especially, this is difficult, this sound. Cheating, cheat. Now, we don't say sheeting or sheet, we say cheating, cheat. So we need a very strong ch, and we can practice that more, or you can practice that with a recording your voice. All right, this is a very inspirational story that if you want, you can read about brothers in Mexico who helped each other. I think it was during the Olympics, was it? Very emotional. This is for England, a very emotional moment. And I think you can find this on YouTube if you want to search for it. It might bring tears to your eyes. It's very emotional. As Johnny, 26, entered the last kilometer. Now notice kilometer is spelled this way, but in America, in American English, it is spelled with an ER, M-E-T-E-R. Both ways are correct, so there's no problem. Just so you know, there are two spellings. Now, he was winning by a long way. He'd gone very fast in the swimming and cycling stages, but then he began to feel ill, or he began to get sick. The US would probably say something like this. Britain, the Brits prefer ill, because he hadn't drunk enough. Now, drunk is the past participle for drink. So drink, drank, drunk. Also, drunk is a noun in a situation I hope none of us find ourselves in. And then once again, meters, you can see the different spelling. In the UK, it's R-E-S, and in America, it's E-R-S. So just so you're aware, both spellings are correct. All right, let's move down. Oh, I want to talk about one thing here. The two words, these are the people who sort of control the match. They're often in black and white. They're called the referee or the umpire. But honestly, between native speakers, we often refer to them as ref and ump. Ref and ump. The ump and the ref. So you want to remember that. And then we have grammar bank. So let's go to the grammar bank. This is going to be this is a very important review for a lot of us dealing with all the main past tenses, simple, continuous, and perfect. And I'm going to highlight for you the most important points that you must remember when you're studying this grammar. So we're not going to listen to the audio files because I'm going to be your audio file. They were in Mexico in 2016. What time did you get up this morning? Now, we use past simple, did get up, were, for finished actions in the past. And the reason I highlighted those is because anytime there is a reference to time, this morning, last week, in September, in 2016, any reference to time automatically means it's in the past. I mean, assuming it's in the past in general. So you can't use present perfect if you see a time element. You have to. So this morning, I went jogging. You can't say I've been jogging this morning. I went. It's a past event because I mentioned this morning, and this morning is a time reference. So it's a finished action. Now, past continuous with was and were, we know how to form these. What were you doing at 6 o'clock? I was driving while I was doing the housework. The children were playing. So let's take a look at this. I think we know that this is an action in progress at a specific time. So we use past continuous to emphasize the activity. Now, we also use it when it's interrupting a interrupted by a different action. So we're doing something and something else comes, and we use simple past for that something else. So look at number 3. While I was doing the homework, so the housework, excuse me, so that's the past continuous. The children were playing. So here we have 2 past continuouses, continuous. But you can also do something like this. While I was doing the housework, the phone rang. That's a simple past. So it happened in the middle of my homework. So while I was doing my homework, my mom called. That's an event during my homework study. Does that make sense? All right. It was cold. It was a cold night. It was raining. I was watching TV. This is when you're telling a story. And I think this is great. I don't think we're going to emphasize it too much, but if you want to try to tell a story in the past tense, past continuous is very important at the beginning of your story. And not only, but certainly at the beginning. Now, past perfect, we have here, we use the past perfect when we talk about the past. So when John arrived in the past, they went out. But if we reverse the order, so first John arrived, then we went out. But if we reverse the order, then we have to use the past continuous because it's not in a natural order. The natural order is this happened, then this happened, then this happened. But if we reverse it, we have to tell the reader that this is not the order of events. And we tell them that by using the past perfect. So watch this. When John arrived, they had gone out. So they went out before John arrived. So John arrived, but they had gone out earlier because we know that because we use past perfect. They had already left when John arrived. All right. You can read about some of these. The person who had knocked on the door had disappeared. So you can see that whenever you're in the past tense, and then you talk about, oh, I forgot, there was something here, even before that, that's when we use past perfect. All right. I hope that's clear. And if not, you're going to get a chance to practice this with A and B. All right, we have a lot to do here. One more thing, you can see here D, so a little bit more homework for you to ensure that you understand the different tenses. All right, I'm throwing a lot at you, but I'm confident that you can handle it. I hope you don't get butterflies when you're doing this homework. Thank you and see you very soon. Bye-bye. Happy studying.